Coming up, we take a look at the Silver Wing Spring Show, STAAR grading errors, and 2 science classes raising birds. This is Hawk TV for Friday, April 29, 2016. Good morning, Hebron High School. I'm Spencer Rojas. Counselor Secretary Marian Gonzalez came from Latin America to the United States. Drew Vaughn takes a closer look.
After the 10-year journey from Bogota, Colombia to becoming a citizen in Carrollton, Texas, Marian Gonzalez was hired as the Counselor Secretary in 2008.
We wanted to have a different environment where our kids could grow up, and we kind of like visited a lot and we kind of liked it. So one day we went back to Colombia from vacation and we were like, it would be nice to live over there. So it was kind of like a thought. And then we came.
Although Gonzalez says learning to speak English was difficult, being bilingual has benefited her.
The language is different because we will speak only Spanish. So I kind of like learn English at home because my parents are from Australia, so they will speak English to me, but I will speak Spanish to them. So then I had all my English in my head and then put it on the English in my mouth.
Well, in her interview, she was very, very calm and confident, and she had some really good experience in her previous job. And a bonus was that she spoke Spanish too.
Living in America has opened many opportunities, not only for Gonzalez, but also for her children.
I mean, just being Hispanic gets you advantages scholarship-wise, and people look at you differently if you can show them, hey, I'm a smart Hispanic.
Both of my kids were raised here, I raised them here, so I don't know how different would it be. I do know that education is different. Now that I work in the school, I see how education is different from Colombia than from here. Because over there, you don't get to choose. You don't have so many electives. It's kind of like everybody's in the same page. Everybody takes the same subjects.
I feel like in a lot of respects that she's our 7th counselor, so she takes her job very seriously and does a really great job.
Reporting for Hawk TV, I'm Drew Vaughn. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Drew. Based in New Jersey, the Educational Testing Service is on its first year of a 4-year multi-million-dollar contract after replacing Pearson Education as the state's testing vendor. After LASD's testing administration found discrepancies in the English 1 and 2 EOC's short answer questions, in January they requested to have the STAAR test rescored. Sophia Kraft brings us the story.
After receiving the December English 1 and 2 STAAR end-of-course exams in January, the district's testing administration noticed some inconsistencies in scoring and decided to investigate.
I think the biggest concern is a student on the long portion of the English language response. They would do very well on it, say, you know, they did so well they made 100 on that portion. But then the short answer portion, the same that scored 100, we're getting a 0 on a short response. And so it wasn't quite matching up.
We had some red flags, and so we called TEA to draw their attention to it, and TEA investigated. In February, they got back with us and told us that there were not any errors, and that if we thought there were some poor scores or some scores we had questions about, that we should go through a rescoring process.
In a letter to Commissioner Mike Morath on April 13th, Superintendent Dr. Kevin Rogers reported that of the 85 English 2 tests rescored, 27% changed. The same was true for 13% of 76 English 1 tests.
All students deserve that accurate score. We look at this data, we use this data to determine where we're being successful in instruction and where we're not. STAAR is one of those big pieces that the whole community looks at. And so I feel like we need to have accurate scores.
Despite the rescoring fee of $25 per test, the district hopes to submit as many tests as possible for rescoring and has allocated nearly $50,000 for the cause. ETS will waive the fee if the scores improve.
But we do not have access to view what students submitted, so we're kind of going at it blindly in terms of determining who needs to be submitted and who doesn't. And so there's a cost with that because some of the scores are not going to change.
Last week, TEA reported the scoring errors are statewide. Now some believe this incident questions the purpose of high-stakes testing and the validity of the system.
This kind of highlights the fact that we don't have an accurate instrument that truly reflects the academic integrity or abilities of our students.
We want our kids to take the test seriously, and we feel like the state should take the test seriously as well. The kids spend a lot of time getting prepared for the test and trying to do their best on that day, and then when they find out that what they did maybe wasn't good enough or maybe is now in question, I know that it's frustrating for the kids.
In our mind, it doesn't matter whether it's 1, 20, or many more than that. It needs to be right. Students work really hard on these tests, and if just one is incorrect, we feel that it's worth it for us to make sure it's right.
Reporting for Hawk TV, I'm Sophia Kraft. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Sophia. The district has submitted a request to see the written portions of the English STAAR exam to further investigate how they were scored. TEA is working on the request while maintaining the security of the test. We'll be right back.
So what are y'all going to do to prepare for the AP exam?
I'll forget my pencils and then I'll panic the day of the test.
Great.
Yeah, I'll be sure to put everything I don't need into my backpack.
That is so unhelpful.
Yeah, no problem.
And I'll stay up all night studying a semester's worth of information.
What about supplies? What are you guys planning on bringing?
I can forget to bring my calculator.
And I'll forget my identification.
We've never been less prepared. I'm proud of us.
Thank you.
Welcome back. AP Biology teacher Christy Codwell and AP Environmental Science teacher Patricia Isani are using duck and quail eggs to further learning opportunities in the classroom.
We tend to do some behavior experiments with them, and ducks are different than chickens this year, so I think we're going to look at imprinting and just taking care of them, learning how little organisms interact and taking care of them, responsibility.
We're raising baby quail. They're bobwhite quail, and we're going to release them back into Leela once they're old enough.
The 8th class is raising quail to be afraid of their natural predator, the Cooper hawk, and then releasing them back into the wild to help the local ecosystem.
It's been really cool to watch them hatch. After we watched it yesterday, we have another one hatching right now. We get to watch them grow up, and we're going to try to train them so that how their mom would in the wild, so that they know to be afraid of their natural predators and all that. So it's pretty cool.
I love that it's such a unique experience to get in a high school setting, and we're able to help out our local environment at the same time.
The AP Bio class is using the eggs to look at embryos and study the different stages of development. In previous years, the class used chicken eggs, but decided to switch to duck eggs this year.
It's definitely eye-opening in a way, because it shows you how other species develop and how they work, and so it's kind of odd to see a baby duck move inside of an egg, like a visual representation of all developmental processes, and so I think that's what's really interesting.
I love the experiment because a lot of students live in their books, and this is an opportunity to really get to dive into science and love the nature of science and the nature of life, and it's just very exciting to have something to look forward to come into the classroom.
They think all the specs are too. I know.
Whitmark will take the ducks home to her family farm in a few weeks, and the 8th class will release in the quail in a few weeks as well. As the Silver Wing Spring Show continues this weekend, Julie Rodriguez takes a look into the preparations.
As the drill team comes back from its biannual trip to New York City, it hopes to use the new experiences to influence its annual show.
In New York, we were exposed to different types of dance that we don't get exposed to every day in drill teams. So we did take a musical theater class, which was nice just to do that, because we usually don't work with musical theater that often. So that was nice. I think that helped us with our dance experience. We also went and toured the Radio City Rockettes where they performed, so we didn't actually take a class from them, but just watching them was a pretty good inspiration to be more like them in the way they kick and the way they dance.
It's a huge inspiration. I think mainly seeing a big production. I think for us, highlights is not just a little recital. For us, and my goal is to make it a professional production.
The theme for the show is Art of Survival, which the team hopes will allow for the audience to connect with the show on a personal level.
We have more of a theme this year where it's surviving different obstacles in our life, so breakups, sickness, school, stuff like that everyday people face. It's a good experience for people to relate to whenever they see our show.
Reporting for Hawk TV, I'm Julia Rodriguez. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Julia. The second performance will be tonight at 7, and the final performance will be Sunday afternoon at 3. At the state golf tournament, the girls' team placed 6th, and freshman Jenny Park placed 3rd overall. The varsity baseball team beat Plano West Wednesday night 4-0. The team will play its last regular season game against the Wolves tonight at 7:30 at Plano West. That's it for today's broadcast. I'm Spencer Rojas. Have a great rest of your day.